I had always been fascinated by ghost stories, but I never really believed them, But that all changed when I spent a night at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. If you don't know, the Stanley Hotel is notorious for being one of the most haunted places in America, mostly because of Stephen King's experience there that inspired The Shining. I went there thinking it was just going to be a fun, spooky adventure. I didn't expect what happened. It was late, around 2 a.m. My friend and I were staying in room 217, the most famous haunted room. You see, back in 1911, a housekeeper named Elizabeth Wilson was involved in a gas explosion in that very room. She survived, but ever since then, guests report strange things happening in there, lights flickering, objects moving, or feeling cold touches on their skin. We laughed it off at first, thinking it was all part of the fun. That was until it got real. I woke up suddenly to the sound of footsteps, soft but deliberate, walking around the bed. At first, I thought it was my friend going to the bathroom, but when I looked over, he was still fast asleep. My heart started racing. Then the footsteps stopped right next to my side of the bed, and I felt it. A cold, icy hand on my shoulder. I froze. Every hair on my body stood up, and I didn't dare move. Then I heard this whisper in my ear, soft but clear. "Get out." I shot up out of bed and turned on the lights, fully expecting to see someone standing there. But the room was empty. My friend woke up confused, asking me what was going on. I couldn't even explain it, but I insisted we leave the room immediately. As we were packing our bags, something in the corner of the room caught my eye. The door to the closet was slowly creaking open, and I swear to you, there was a shadow standing there, just watching us. We left that room and didn't go back. I don't know if it was Elizabeth or something else, but I'll never forget that feeling, that cold touch and that voice. I thought it was all just stories until I experienced it myself. I was never one to believe in ghosts, but after staying at the Cavalier Hotel in Virginia Beach, I can't explain what happened to me in any other way. This place has a long history. Built in the 1920s, it's seen its fair share of tragedy. The most famous story is about Adolf Coors, the founder of Coors Brewery, who fell to his death from his hotel room in 1929. Some say it was an accident. Others think it was something darker. Either way, his spirit is rumored to still haunt the place. I was staying there for a business trip, and I was put in a room on the top floor where Coors supposedly died. It didn't bother me at first. The hotel is beautiful, old-school luxury with a kind of eerie charm, but nothing too strange. That night, though, things took a turn. I woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of water running. At first, I thought maybe I left the faucet on in the bathroom, but when I got up to check, everything was dry. I shrugged it off and got back into bed, but as soon as I laid down, I heard it again, water, like someone was taking a shower. This time, I got up and opened the bathroom door, and I swear, there was steam like the shower had just been running, but the faucet was off. The air was thick with humidity, and there, on the mirror, was a single word written in condensation: help. I backed out of the bathroom, my heart pounding, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And that's when I noticed the window. It was wide open, which made no sense because I hadn't touched it. I walked over to close it, and that's when I felt it. A hand on my shoulder. I froze. The grip was firm, cold. I turned around, but no one was there. The room was completely empty, but I could still feel that pressure on my shoulder, like someone was standing right behind me. Then I heard it, a voice, low and desperate, whispering, "Don't let me fall." I bolted for the door. I don't think I've ever run so fast in my life. I spent the rest of the night in the hotel lobby, too scared to go back upstairs. The next morning, I checked out early and didn't say a word to anyone. But I'll never forget that night. There's something at the Cavalier, something that's still stuck in that room. And whatever it is, it doesn't want to be alone. I've always been curious about haunted places, so when I had the chance to stay at the Marshall House in Savannah, Georgia, I jumped at it. The place has a dark history. During the Civil War, it was used as a hospital, and they say they found bones beneath the floorboards during renovations. People claim to hear children laughing in the hallways or feel cold touches when no one's around. But I didn't really believe in all that. Not until that night. I was in room 414. I picked it because it's supposed to be one of the more active rooms for paranormal stuff. I figured if I was going to do this, I might as well go all in, right? The first few hours were normal, nothing weird. I explored the hotel, took some pictures, and tried to soak in the atmosphere. But when night came, things got strange. Around midnight, I was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, when I heard it, a faint tapping sound. At first, I thought it was just someone in the room next door, but it got louder. It sounded like it was coming from inside the room. I sat up, straining to listen. It was coming from the closet. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I just ignore it? But the tapping, it was so persistent. So I got up and walked over to the closet, and just as I reached for the door handle, the tapping stopped. The silence was deafening. I opened the door. Nothing. It was just a closet, empty. I closed it, trying to shake off the unease. But as soon as I turned around, I felt it. A hand. Cold. Icy, grabbing my wrist. I jerked away, stumbling back, but there was no one there. My heart was racing. I backed up to the bed, and that's when I saw it. A figure standing in the corner. It was barely visible, just a dark shape, but I could feel its eyes on me, watching. Suddenly, the air got thick, like the whole room was closing in on me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The figure started to move toward me, slow and deliberate, and the closer it got, the colder the room became. I swear I could hear whispers, soft and unintelligible, but they were there. I grabbed my phone, ready to call for help, when the figure just vanished. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I asked the front desk if anyone had ever experienced something like that in room 414. The woman just gave me this knowing smile and said, "People who stay in that room usually don't come back."